Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl. And today's awesome guest is Dr. Matt Singer, who is completely leading the field in holistic medicine. He integrates homeopathy, clinical nutrition, applied kinesiology, detoxification, and so much more. We also talked about his energy enhancement room that kind of accelerates healing with energy attunement and even the Rife technology. We also have Holly on the show. She is a friend of mine who is a patient of Dr. Singer's, and she's had a great experience. So I can't wait for you to see Holly and Dr. Singer. Let's go say hello. Hey everyone, welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluhige, health coach and personal trainer and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you encouragement or an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode. Please also join our awesome Facebook group called High Energy Girls, and I'm looking forward to see you on the inside of that group and hope you enjoy today's show. Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Hi, Holly. Hi, Dr. Singer. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hi, Tracy. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's awesome to talk to you, doctor. I hear great things. So for the listeners that don't know you yet, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So my name is Dr. Matt Singer. I am a holistic doctor in Wayne, New Jersey. I've been practicing for about 17 years, and I started out basically in chiropractic school. And I started practicing as a chiropractor. And then from there, I really had a huge passion for helping people really heal from the most intense, most confusing or mysterious types of illnesses that plague us. And that's where I got into the world of holistic medicine. And I had met some amazing medical doctors who practiced only holistically. And from there, I started my journey for the next 12 years of really diving into holistic medicine, which basically encompasses how the brain is able to actually find the cause of a problem. So it's not about treating a symptom. What is fascinating about the brain, the lobes of the brain will break up into different areas, which are all communicating to the organs and to the cells of the body. So what it allows us to do is when somebody comes in with some kind of an ailment or a disease, the brain will take us to the original origin of it. And the origin might be 4 years old. It could be 2 days old. It could be 3 months in the womb. And the origin could be some kind of heavy metal or toxin or chemical. It could be a virus. It could be a bacteria. I mean, I've seen everything and anything start out as the cause. And the cause let's say we get exposed to some kind of virus when we're very young and it embeds itself into the liver. And then when we're in our 30s, we get exposed to E. coli, or we get exposed to heavy mold, or we're working in an office where there's toxic mold, or we're in a horrible relationship. You go through a horrible divorce, and you spend the next 8 years of your life stressed beyond belief. That will cause a constant release of cortisol and adrenaline in the body, which starts the stress hormones to feed viruses. And then very subtly, these viruses start to kind of gain strength over us. And then all of a sudden people say, out of nowhere, I just couldn't get out of bed one day. So that's the neat thing about holistic medicine, is it shows us the cause. So when we can find the cause of the problem, then the body will show us how to fix it. So we can use homeopathy, we can use enzymes, we can use herbs, we can use, I do a lot of emotional releasing, energetic work to bring it back to releasing any trapped stress. Trapped stressors will feed viruses. And when we can get someone to release the stressor behind it, and then we can nourish the body, and then we can homeopathically give the body different frequencies of, like when we want the immune system to kill a virus, we can show the immune system the frequency of a virus, and through different homeopathies that I make myself out of water, which are holding a very specific frequency. And the frequency is alerting the immune system to look in each cell that has that same frequency of where the virus is, so the body knows how to destroy it. And in essence, that's how we can take someone who has a long-standing autoimmune issue or a long-standing chronic ailment that's taking over their life and help that person heal very quickly.
Wow. Okay, so you've just said a whole lot that I'd like to unpack so that people can actually comprehend what you said. So the first thing I heard you say was that the brain knows what is going on and what is wrong to identify the root cause. So how do you tap into that knowledge so that you know what that root cause of their ailment is?
So the way that I tap into it is I use a system called applied kinesiology. And for some people may have seen it, some people may not have. But because the brain is wired to the organs, and the organs and the glands are wired through the muscular system, we can test the strength of a muscle, whether it be the arm, the leg, any part of the body. And when the brain gives us an indicator, we'll see either a strong or a weak muscle. So when we're having a conversation with the body, there's an area in the back of the head. It's called cell memory. And so cell memory is basically receiving information from every part of the body, every cell in the body. So when we want to uncover the cause of something, we will use different reflex points. So a patient will see me I'll be contacting certain areas on the frontal lobe or different areas on an organ. So I may say to them, okay, I want you to hold the liver, I want you to hold the chest, and we're going to contact the brain. And then I'll be testing a muscle on them. So I'll say, okay, keep your arm strong. And when the brain is able to see where in the body the problem is, the indicator will show up and the patient's arm will then weaken. So it's a system of basically what we call applied kinesiology, and it's a system in which there's a reflex. It's known as a viscerosomatic reflex. So basically, the organ and the muscle are communicating together, and when the brain recognizes the stress, it sends a stress signal through the muscle, and the muscle releases. So if I'm looking for the virus and I'm contacting different reflex points or different acupuncture points, and then the brain says, boom, that's it, pancreas, then the person's arm goes down and gives me the indicator to look in the pancreas.
Cool. That's interesting. Okay, so now you know that this patient has a problem in the pancreas. And then what do you do?
So then from there, we have specialty labs that make homeopathic vials for us of virtually everything that can hurt the pancreas, from virus, bacteria, fungus, parasites, heavy metals, chemicals, miasms, which are genetic mutations of viruses that we get from our ancestors, foods, chemicals, I mean, you name it. And so we take these vials, and we're basically having the patient hold a series of vials. So I might give them specific viruses to hold. I can have them contact a whole bunch of vials at one time, and then I can test the muscle. And if the muscle stays strong, we know the brain says, nope, I don't see anything there. If we finally get to the actual virus, then we'll see the weak muscle show up. So the most common viruses that we see that are involved in this are going to be like what are called HHV viruses. They're called human herpes viruses. Those are the ones that cause like the cold sores, the chicken pox. Then we see the family of Epstein-Barr viruses, which are also our cytomegaloviruses. And then we also have our influenza viruses, our coronaviruses. So there's different families of viruses that are more common in regards where they're stronger viruses that can basically lie dormant in an organ our whole life. And then when we get stressed enough, can wake up. There's weaker viruses that will hurt us just in that moment. But as time goes on, they're not going to pass through the wound from generation to generation.
Oh, that's so interesting. And I heard that we all have like a large number of viruses in our body at all times. Is that true?
It's very true. However, they were originally designed to help protect us. So what viruses actually are very good at are scavenging toxins in the body. So every time we take a breath of air in, we are breathing some kind of toxins in. Those toxins are then metabolized by different white blood cells, and then there's a waste that's excreted. Those viruses are actually feeding off those waste products to help eliminate. It's when we have a constant supply of stress hormone running through our body that it can actually start to mutate those viruses, which once were healthy and helpful, which are now becoming more of a burden. So just to give an example, like this is a typical kind of vial set here, with all different types of viruses. And in my office, I have thousands of these, thousands and thousands. And so if I'm testing something like, let's say this is Epstein-Barr virus, I will have the patient hold the vial, and then I will test the strength of their muscle, and I'll see as they're holding this if it makes the muscle weaken or strengthen. And then that's how the brain gives us the indicator, because it's showing us that it sees the virus. The brain will show us the organ where it detects it, and then we can localize what part of the pancreas, tail of the pancreas, head of the pancreas. We can also find out, which is fascinating, is we can go to the timeline. The amazing thing about cell memory is it gives us the timeline. So then I'll ask the body, tell me what age you got exposed to this. So let's say the patient is 38. I'll be testing their body, and let's say their body stops me at 3 days old. So they first got exposed at 3 days old. So we know that, okay, from 3 days old, we have to find everything that this Epstein-Barr virus connected with. So then that's where we might see mercury show up, or copper, or aluminum, or we might see different food allergies show up. We might see different types of polyurethane. We might see a lot of chemicals from medications if somebody was on antibiotics for a long period of time. So there's so much that can be given to us, and we have the vials for all those to start to detox that out of the body. So when the body's showing us that the cause of the stress is the Epstein-Barr is being fed by toxins in the body, and we can detox the body, now the virus has no food left, and then everything starts to return back to homeostasis, and the patient heals very quickly.
Wow. I have a question. Because of like our current environment, are you finding you're busier these days?
Yeah, I'm much busier these days. And what's happening is people are getting sicker than normal, and it's happening at a younger age is what we're seeing. And people who are in their older ages it's becoming a lot more chronic and it's turning into more autoimmune. So we're seeing more things now than we were 10 years ago that were afflicting people. Yes.
Very interesting. And so you've identified this virus in the pancreas. and you know where it came from, how it's there, and then how do you recommend they detox so that they can get well?
So the first component of the detox always starts with the foods that they're eating. I'm always going to go through the foods that they're eating, because most of the times, if somebody is spending more time eating, let's say, animal-based foods or fried foods or preserved foods, if we can get them just more on a plant-based diet, that's going to help on its own start to detox. The second aspect of it is going to be homeopathy. So the neat thing with these vials is we have the ability to transform these vials into a homeopathy. So basically, we're taking the source of the problem in a micro amount, and we're giving it back to the body in the form of a frequency. So not the actual virus, the frequency of the virus. So that's how energy medicine works. So we can isolate the actual frequency of what it looks like in the body. And as we are taking the remedy, the immune system is now tagging the cells where it sees those frequencies, so that it is sending the antigens to those areas to make the right antibodies to help the body destroy those pathogens.
Wow, that's advanced. Okay, so let's put that down to a 5th grade level. So, I mean, I know what you're talking about because I've done some training in energy medicine, but why don't you just try to explain what that means in simpler terms?
Sure.
So I really want people to get it.
Yes. So what it means is when something is causing us to get sick, the body can show us the cause, and we can make a simple remedy to help the body find it and kill it without any harmful medications or chance of causing any further disruption to the body, without any harmful side effects.
Okay. So homeopathy, my understanding is it's things that they take in nature and they like make a tincture of it. Is that what you do?
Yes, that's 100% correct. This form of homeopathy uses frequency. So with other forms of homeopathy, we can take, like, for example, if someone has an allergy to a flower or to a food, I can take the food and I can resonate the frequency of the food and then have them ingest the water tincture, and that will help to desensitize their body to the food allergy. Same thing as we can take the tincture of a virus and we can program that tincture to activate this, to act the same way as if the virus was active in the body. So your body goes after it, and then it goes after it, and it looks in every cell in the body to find where there's other components of that virus active. So it would look everywhere. So it's almost like the equivalent of a trained dog, where you give them a bomb to smell, and then they're going through the airport looking to see if they find that same smell in anybody else's suitcase.
Wow, that's incredible. So are you imprinting the water with the same frequency that you find in that affected virus or organ or whatever?
That's exactly right. So through the kinesiology, like, for example, with Holly, like, I will ask her body to give me the frequency. Once we find the virus, we can ask the brain to tell us what the frequency is. And it's always going to be like a 5-digit number. It might be like 439.28. So when we imprint that, there's a machine that the labs make where I can have it duplicate that frequency into the water. So the water's holding that imprint of 439.28. And then it will, there's a lot of different, within homeopathy, there's different concepts that we have to figure out what it is. So we're asking her body what the concept is of what it means, like, what is the strength? What is the signal? And then from there, we find out when we're working on it, if there's trapped emotion. So if somebody has the virus, but then there's also an emotion of thinking they're not good enough, and then we clear that emotion, that frequency of that is going to be into the homeopathy as well.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So I wanted to just let the listeners know, I am a patient of Dr. Singer. So I do come to Dr. Singer and have experienced this firsthand and make the homeopathy and do the muscle testing. And we pinpoint the viruses that are found in my body that cause a dis-ease or a disturbance and imbalance. And through the homeopathy, it pinpoints that within the body to clear it out. And there's layers of these. So, it's not just you're going to have a one-shot deal, because these viruses, bacteria have been accumulated in the body for a lifetime. And there's layers of them we have to go through to get to finally when they're all cleared out.
Well, I was just going to ask you next, because I feel like I got an understanding of what doctor does. So now, when you came to him, Holly, for the first time, what were you experiencing symptoms? I mean, what led you to?
So a girlfriend of mine told me about Dr. Singer and told me I need to see him. It started when I had COVID so bad last year that it really took me down for months. And then she kept saying, you need to go see Dr. Singer. And I saw Dr. Singer. And we've been working on, just healing a lifetime of things in my body that have accumulated. And it's always very fascinating when I come see him, because you never know what's going to show up. It's always different. The body knows exactly to tell him where to go, what's the most prevalent to go and work on in that moment. And through the muscle testing, my body just tells him exactly. And then we pinpoint the emotion. And the emotion, he can even break it down to that age when it was. And he's like, do you know exactly what happened at this age? And usually they'll be like, oh my God, I had this traumatic event happen. And there was an emotion then that got trapped in the body, which is then ties into holding the imbalance in my body in an organ. And we remove that. And then he makes the homeopathy, which then, starts targeting all the cells in the body to flush it and clear it. So it's been a very incredible process. You do go through periods where you have, because you're detoxing and you're healing. So it's not like you're going to feel incredible all the time. When you go through a detox, there is some periods where you don't feel really good, because the body it's kind of like shaking everything up in the body to flush it out. So that's why eating the clean diet is so good, because you don't want to clog your system with foods that aren't healthy to allow it to heal.
And also think about it like this. Imagine if somebody was in a horrible relationship, whether it's at work or home or spouse or sibling, and they were holding on to hurts for 20 years, and then you finally give your body permission to release it, you're going to feel great. But at the same time, it's almost like this incredible release is going to happen in your body. It's like you've been through, like post-traumatic stress for years, and all of a sudden now you're finally in one fell swoop letting it go. It doesn't always go in a way which we think is like, oh my gosh, I feel amazing. Sometimes we're tired for 2 or 3 days because the body's saying, for years I was just living off of stress hormone. Now I can finally breathe. Now I can finally allow my body to work the way it should. So
Wow.
that's where I always tell the patient right off the bat, I'm never the healer. They are. They are always the healer. Their body's telling us exactly what has to happen. It's never, ever is there going to be a time where I'm ever treating a symptom, ever, because the symptom will fool me every time. And I always tell the patients, I'm not smarter than you are. Your body is the smartest. It's going to tell us everything.
So what I'm hearing you say that this is the pancreas, and then this is the virus, and then this is the emotion or traumatic experience or whatever. So in order to get rid of this virus, you first have to lift off that gatekeeper or the emotion that's holding it hostage or trapped
Correct.
to be able to get down to that level. Is that what you're saying,
Yes.
Holly?
Yes. The other amazing thing that I love that Dr. Singer does is he does the Ho'oponopono. And it's always about, we forget we are the love. It's always bringing us back that we are the love, and we're looking for love outside ourselves. But through his work, it's always recognizing what we have been seeking is the love within ourselves. And he taps into that. And if you want to go through the Ho'oponopono that
Sure.
you use, because it's quite beautiful.
And absolutely. So, Ho'oponopono was something that just really changed my life. Dr. Hugh Len was a master of Ho'oponopono, and he still is. He's from Hawaii, and there's been many books written about him. And what he did was absolutely just, mind blowing when you hear about what he actually accomplished. So when I was learning Ho'oponopono, I was learning his method of the technique. So basically, to give you like the 1 minute story about him, he had been a master of Ho'oponopono for years, and he had been contacted by the hospital for the criminally insane in Hawaii, and they were begging him to please work there because it was so stressful and so unrolling. The inmates were basically so dangerous that they had to be sedated and shackled to go from one room to another. Staff didn't want to work there, and it was to the point where everything was just falling apart. So he had agreed to work there temporarily, and he said, "I don't ever want to step foot in any of the rooms with any of the inmates ever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show up. You're going to give me one file a day of the inmates. Now, I'm going to read the story of their life." So he said he would be in a private room. Nobody knew he was there, and he'd be reading the story of these inmates. He said one at a time, and he'd go through their life story, how the trauma they went through. He was explaining like these people were put through the worst of the worst. They were just abandoned by their parents. They were raped and beaten in just horrible situations. And as he's reading it, he said he would feel the feeling in himself of what they went through. So let's say he was feeling abandoned, or he was feeling unloved, or he was feeling judged or criticized or alienated. Whatever he felt by reading their story, he said he would clear it in himself. He didn't clear it in them. He cleared it in himself by doing Ho'oponopono, which is 4 phrases. And there's no wrong way and there's no wrong order, but the order in which I do it is once we acknowledge our highest, most divine self, the 4 phrases are, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." So what he would do is he would go through these inmates' stories, and everything that came up, he would just Ho'oponopono. And what was amazing was nobody ever met him. And in his book, he was reporting that, after about 3.5 to 4 months, the executives in the hospital were saying that the inmates were calming down. They were more peaceful. They were painting. They were asking, to read poetry. And then he said after about 8 months, some of the inmates were able to be released on good behavior. Fast forward 4 years, all 460 inmates of that hospital were released on good behavior, back to where they were supposed to go. And nobody ever met Dr. Hugh Len ever. And it was all from Ho'oponopono. And he says that when we clear ourself, it clears everything connected. So let's say I'm in a relationship. Let's say I'm in a work relationship. Someone at work is being horrible to me. They're belittling me. They're putting me down, and I am just feeling criticized. I'm feeling unappreciated. So I'm not going to Ho'oponopono the people who are doing it. I'm going to do it for myself. As I do it for myself, it heals those people who are doing it to me. Because on the deepest level, those people doing it to me are versions of me. on the deepest level. They're reflections of me, where somewhere inside of me, I'm feeling belittled already. I was doing it to myself. I was judging myself, criticizing myself, putting myself down, and I attracted them into my life to show me what I have to clear out and improve in my life. So when I'm going through this process, it's a deep, deep connection. I'm closing my eyes, I'm focusing on my heart. So if I'm working with a patient and they're bringing us to a timeline and I'm asking them, what is the strongest emotion that they're feeling? And they're saying, I felt unloved. Then I'm going to say, let's do it together. And I say, at that moment, you're healing me, because that means that right now in my life, I feel unloved and you're my healer. So we would go through something like this. I would say, to my highest, most divine self. And I'm having them say it, but they're saying it silently. I'd say the first line would be, for whatever reason I had to experience or take responsibility for the energy of ever feeling unloved, I'm sorry. And we're saying it right to our heart. The second is, please forgive me. So I'm asking myself to please forgive me for holding on to these false beliefs. I had to learn these false beliefs somewhere. Did I learn it from my parents, my ancestors, my siblings? Whoever I learned these from, these false beliefs, that I'm unworthy of being loved, please forgive me. I'm asking my heart to please forgive me. And the third line is, I'm saying thank you to myself for finally cutting these cords and cleaning and clearing the energy of ever feeling unloved or unappreciated or unworthy or not good enough. And then I'm reversing, I'm saying thank you for teaching me through this experience that I have always been the love. Because once my soul knows that in order for me to know I'm the love, I have to feel unloved. So I'm learning in opposites. Once it shows me through this experience that I am the love, now I've let go of the opposite of ever feeling unloved. And then the final phrase is, in my heart. I always tell people, you're going to grab the strongest emotion you can ever remember. Like the moment when you had children and you saw them for the first time, the moment you got engaged, or the moment you see, like for little kids, I'll say, think of your puppy, think of your animals. It's the most intense love you can ever imagine. You're going to say, I love you. And you're finally bringing it back to yourself. So with Ho'oponopono, it gives us permission on the subconscious, deepest part of ourselves to let go of what doesn't serve us.
So the amazing thing is, so we go through all the emotions in the body and we find that emotion that we've been holding on to within the body that is creating the imbalance and disease in the body. And then Dr. Singer then does this Ho'oponopono to whatever that emotion is that showed up, whether it be, abandonment or judgment or feeling unloved. And we Ho'oponopono ourselves. So we're basically forgiving ourselves and our cells for taking this on and holding on to this. And it's letting it go. And we set ourselves free and realize we are the love. We're giving ourselves back the love that we've denied ourselves by taking on this illness or this imbalance within our being.
That's incredible. And I have to say, I'm very familiar with Ho'oponopono, and your description was the most beautiful I have ever heard. So I'm going to have to take this tape and capture that little segment. It was so well explained.
It is powerful. It really is powerful. When you do what you do with us, I tear up when you're working with me.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt it.
It gives us permission to finally see ourselves the way our soul sees us, as pure love.
Well, it's also like we're finally being set free from something that has plagued us our whole life. And you can feel that release. Mm-hmm. And then you fill us with love. Mm-hmm. And that is the most beautiful thing, that love, because most people go through life not loving themselves, not feeling that deep, intense love. And since I've been working with you, I can tell you that the love in my being has multiplied tremendously. Absolutely. And it's because of the work we've done.
And what's amazing is when we are emanating the love, as you know, with the universe, what we put out is what we get back. And then all of a sudden, everything in your life just starts getting better because now you're in that high frequency of love. And you're like, wait a minute, how did this just change so fast? It's because we changed. When we change, everything else around us changes.
Mm-hmm. And, that's another thing that I tell all the people in all my rooms, that it's your frequency, it's your vibration, that they don't realize how powerful that is. So if you're in a really bad situation and life is horrible, it's because of your vibration. You're not in the right vibration to be in the flow and attract that to you. So when you raise your vibration and your frequency, then you can attract to you everything that you want in life.
Yeah. I've heard the explanation that it's like a radio, right? It's a frequency. Your radio is a frequency and you can't see it. But if you're trying to listen to classic rock and roll and you turn it to a I don't know, country station, you're not going to be able to hear it. So you need to tune in to the proper frequency. So I like that. But one question I have is, so when you're uncovering the emotion, which sounds like the first layer of that onion, is it a subjective or an objective test? So are you testing her for each emotion, or are you asking her what she feels?
I'm asking her body to take us. Well, so what I'm doing is so I'm asking her body to take me to the origin of where we have to start. So when I test her body, I start out with the muscle test. I say, tell me your age. We start at the age, and then we walk backwards. Let's say somebody's age is 35. I ask the body 35 to 30, 30 to 20, 20, 10, 10 to 5, 10, 9 years old. And I have these charts, and I'm asking the body, tell me what the word is. And let's say the word shows up as weight of the world on my shoulders. And I'll say, does anything make sense to you? And then they sure enough say, that was the year my parents got divorced. That was exactly when it happened. I was 9. Or they may say that was when, my little brother was kidnapped, or that whatever it may be. Something that makes them feel like it's their fault, they hold on to that burden. So when I'm working with patients, whether face to face or on Zoom, the neat thing about energy is it shows us. So the neat thing about the brain is it has the answer. So everything comes as an asking. So none of it is me saying, you know what, let's start at this age today. It's always 100% dictated by the patient.
Okay, cool. So you take patients over Zoom? You can do all this on Zoom?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's cool. Now we're talking. So basically you are the one who is uncovering. You're not asking the patient for their opinion on something, but you're presenting them with something you found and asking them, does this line up or make sense to your life?
Sure.
All right, you want me to show you a quick example of what it's like?
Yep.
Okay.
I would love that.
So is it okay if I do it for you?
Sure.
Okay. So this is where I would tell the patient, just close your eyes and I want you to focus on your heart. I want you to place an intention in your heart that you're ready for your body to show us what we need to know to help you. So then this is where I would say, okay, what is your age right now?
57.
Okay. So I'd ask your body to take me to the origin. So this is where I would ask your body. So 57 to 50, 50 to 40, 40, 30, 30 to 20, 30, 20, 26. So go to 26 years old.
Okay.
All right. So think about what was going on in your life at 26. And what I'm doing now is I'm basically scanning these charts here. I'm asking your body to tell me where to start. Okay. So it brings me right here, like feeling like a criminal, like almost like feeling like someone makes me feel like this is all your fault. So then like the opposite would be I feeling devalued, feeling like I was in a situation where it was just so unauthentic. So at that time in your life at 26, that's where I would ask the patient, what makes sense? What happened at 26 that made you feel like a criminal, or made you feel persecuted, like something was your fault? So go back to like what you were doing, where you were working, relationships you were in. Does anything make sense?
Well, I had a boss who like had a crush on me, and he was a creep.
Yeah. And then what shows up here is fear of rejection. So what can happen is sometimes we could be afraid to say no, because the stipulation could be, okay, well, I'm afraid that I might get fired, or I'm afraid of this. Or we're picking up on their fears of rejection. And it becomes a very like toxic environment.
Yeah, I hated my job. I had to work, but I hated my job. I was married.
Yeah.
But yeah, my boss was so gross. He had a crush on me, and I just was miserable there.
There you go. So confusion. Yeah. And then so what the body also shows me is confusion. So just not knowing what to do. Like, so imagine that, waking up every day of your life and not knowing what to do. And then that throws off neurotransmitters. So now this is where it shows that this trapped emotion is still there. So the strongest feeling, the opposite of confusion would be what?
Clarity.
Yes. So the reason why the body brings us to these moments now is, let's say in your life right now, you're working on a decision. You're like, I don't know what to do. I don't have clarity. So your body will bring us back to that point so that you can see right now that the same thing is going on. You're looking for clarity. And then this is where, when we Ho'oponopono this will help to open that up, and then you'll have the inspiration will float in.
Oh.
Okay. Or I may say to you, is anybody persecuting you right now? Is anybody blaming you? Sometimes our kids can do it. Sometimes, our parents can do it. I always tell people, I don't need to know anything. I just want to know if it makes sense to you. If there's anything in your life going on right now that can make you feel persecuted in any which way. And remember, there's no wrong to anything. So I just ask the patient, does anything make sense?
Yeah, I don't feel persecuted right now. I feel like I was a while back.
Mm-hmm.
But right now I feel like it's more acceptance, and like people are finally coming around a little bit.
Okay. And then that's where also I would say, are there any big decisions where you're looking for clarity on what to do? That's why that would show up also.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. So basically, when the body brings us back to 26, it's because something's going on in the now, and it's saying, look, this was going on back then. There's still trapped emotion. So when you had that job and that person was making you feel like it's your fault, or it could be blaming you or persecuting you. When we clear that, that will then open up the pathway so that whatever is going on now, you'll see it will just move that much faster.
Cool.
Makes sense? So watch this. So you keep your eyes closed. So we're going to Ho'oponopono this. So tell me the strongest emotion you felt, negative emotion you felt at 26 working in that job.
Dread.
Dread. Okay. Now, dread is the tip of the iceberg. What is the deepest reason for the dread? You felt dread why?
I felt like I was trapped.
Trapped. There you go. So when somebody feels trapped, they feel what? Suffocated. They feel powerless.
Oh, that's a good word.
Okay. See, that's when we want to take it to the deepest layer. Now we want to clear this, because if there's whatever shows up that makes sense, that means that anything in the now that could ever make us feel powerless will dissolve as well. Okay. So this is where, when we do Ho'oponopono, you always say it silently. You never say it out loud. Anything I'm saying, you can change however you want to change it. You never have to copy what I'm saying. You can always change it. And there's no wrong way of saying it. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that means if it shows up, that means we have to clear it as well.
Yes.
Okay. because that means somewhere in my life I feel powerless, and you're my teacher. So the only one that will say it out loud will be me. Both of you and Holly can change anything I'm saying. You just say it silently. Focus on your heart. So we start out by saying, to my highest, most divine self. For whatever reason, I had to experience or take responsibility for ever feeling trapped, feeling powerless, feeling victimized. Whatever reason I had to experience that powerlessness, I'm sorry. I say it right to my heart, I'm sorry. Then I say to my heart, please forgive me for holding on to these false beliefs where I ever could see myself as powerless. Whoever taught me that, parents, loved ones, ancestors, whoever in my life taught me that, past, present, and future, in any dimensions, in any realities, whoever taught me that, please forgive me. The third is thank you for cutting these cords, and literally visualize those cords being cut between the people involved, right to you. You're cutting those cords and you're cleaning and clearing the energy around ever thinking or feeling like you could ever be powerless. Thank you for showing me through this example in my life that I have always been the power, that I have always been the source of my power, that it's never been anybody who ever has control of me, that I am the source of my power, my strength, my love. It always comes from within me. It always is me. And then in your heart, the most incredible love you ever can think of, you ever felt in your life, you're going to say to yourself, I love you. I unconditionally love you. As we let go of that version of ourselves that no longer serves us, and we remember our true power, that you have always been the power. Awesome. Good job.
Okay.
Amazing.
I'm not crying. Are you crying?
But then you feel
Wow.
an incredible sense of connection with yourself, because it's only for you. That was only for you. So, and now it allows us as we move forward to be this new version of ourselves.
And you also feel that release of that burden that we've carried in ourselves. And, you imagine how many emotions in our entire lifetime that we have accumulated that we're carrying around. No wonder why so many people, are sick and unhealthy, because we're carrying these unhealthy emotions around. And finding Dr. Singer has been a godsend, because he's able to tap in to release those trapped emotions so we can be our most optimal, healthy, loving selves. And really the whole purpose of our existence is to come back to loving ourselves and letting go of all this stuff, this baggage we carry.
Absolutely.
We can learn to fully love and embrace ourselves, and then live in that higher vibration and frequency. And then we're in the flow with life. We're not fighting upstream. Everything then just starts coming to us. We attract it to us.
Yes.
Just like you attracted, like we attracted each other.
Absolutely.
And Tracy, and there's so many other people in my life that are, I've attracted because I'm in the flow, the current. We're flowing with the current, not trying to fight an uphill battle, which most people do. They don't know why life isn't working for them. It's because they have all these emotions that are burdening them, which really are just screaming out for getting their attention to release them so that they can live in the flow with life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my best friend's like that. I mean, she always says to me, why are you so positive about everything? Like, you're so patient and all of that, where she is just like always finds the negative of everybody and everything and every experience. And I just have a hard time, teaching her, because she's not open. She's, like you said, she's not ready.
Right.
So, okay. So I was playing on your website. First of all, thank you for that, doctor. That was very beautiful.
Absolutely.
I could definitely feel that. But I was playing around on your website and I noticed that you treat a whole variety of different diseases, or I guess ailments, maybe you'd call them. And so a couple questions I have is, you can answer in whatever order you prefer, is what is the EE system? And then do you also do people who don't have a diagnosis of a cyst or of an ailment?
Yes. So right behind us is the E system. And yeah. So this is
Okay.
so the E system is by far the most amazing tool piece of equipment I've ever been exposed to. Dr. Sandra Michael Rose, she was the one who created it back in the 70s. She's truly a absolute genius. I mean, she's coming from a higher realm. When you're in the presence of these, what it's doing is it's creating these biophotonic scalars. What basically means it's taking pure light and it's colliding it, and it's creating this scalar frequency. The scalar waves are extremely healing. The sun produces them. When vegetation gets hit by scalar waves, that's where you see they grow. It's the power of light. And what's happening is it's creating these waves that when it penetrates the body, she explains that it reverses DNA damage. And so for my practice, this plays such a perfect role in my practice, because when I'm dealing with people, they come in with everything and anything from autoimmune disease to digestive issues, to anxiety, depression, to cancers, antibiotic issues like gut-related issues from antibiotics, Lyme disease, skin issues, infertility. And it's not that I'm treating it differently. What's happening is someone may come in and they say, I have Lyme. So Lyme is the name. That's the diagnosis, Lyme. Well, what we need to find out is, what are these pathogens connecting within the body? So with Lyme, the symptoms are fatigue and pain and swelling and all throughout the body. Well, what I have to do is find out what strains of bacteria, of virus, of chemicals are actually part of what's making the symptoms so bad. So then that's where I use the homeopathy. Whether it be Lyme, whether it be someone comes in and says, we're trying to have children, we can't get pregnant. It's the same thing. We're asking the brain, take us to the origin, tell us what's going on. The body tells us. Like I've seen it where the fallopian tubes were basically had so much aluminum in them from medications, and then we're able to detox the aluminum, and then they're pregnant. What the EE system does is it is so fascinating. It can detox us of everything from radiation, heavy metals, chemicals, poisons. Just for myself alone, I've had this system for about 2 weeks. And it just so happened that 4 weeks ago, I tore my ACL on my left knee, and I could not bend my left knee. And I go in the room, and because it was during the holidays, I had time, so I was able to sit in the room for 5 hours one day, and 2.5 hours the next day, and 3 hours the next day, and another 5 hours. So basically, I accumulated maybe around 16 hours, and it's been about 2.5 weeks now. And now I have full range of motion with no pain, like it never happened. So the tear was literally reversed. When Dr. Sandra said it reverses DNA damage, it really does. I mean, because the DNA is making our genes, and the genes make protein, it's literally reversing the damage that's been done to it.
So it's working from the inside out. It's not the outside in.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. So then when I have patients who are suffering with something like a Lyme, and then I give them the remedies that I use, then I put them in this room, it helps to speed up the healing process by 85%. So instead of it taking 6 or 8 months, 6 or 8 weeks is where now I'm expecting full recovery, where someone's been dealing with Lyme for sometimes 10, 15, 20 years. I have patients coming with PICC lines for antibiotics. So now I am so excited to see how this is going to help speed up the recovery process and the healing process for them. The system is a game changer beyond anything I've ever seen.
So you see the client, the patient, you then go through, make the homeopathy.
Yes.
And then you have the clients come sit in here with their homeopathy.
And then it hypercharges the body and then hyper heals it.
Right. And the homeopathy also is getting hypercharged.
Yes,
so it's getting double whammy, so to speak.
Correct. Just on myself, besides the knee, when I'm in that first room, I have these charts, and normally I can't see the chart because as I was getting older, my eyesight was kind of going. And now I just realized, after having this in my office for about 2.5 weeks, my eyesight's better. I can see the charts now. I haven't gone to my eye doctor to tell me what is approved, but I can see the charts now.
That's amazing.
My eyesight's getting better. I had last Thursday, there's a lot of people who are getting the flu here. I felt really congested. I felt like I was coming down with something. I come in the room for 2 hours and I literally felt like it was being pulled out of my sinuses. And it was, in 2 hours, it was gone. I am so blown away by what this system does. Where people who were riddled with anxiety and depression and sit in the room for 6 or 8 hours and they're like, it's gone. I have no more anxiety anymore.
So these EE systems create a toroidal field. So it's spinning at such a high velocity that you're going out to the universe and it comes back into your body, and it's going into the cells and organs of your body to have your body heal itself from the inside out.
Have you done it yet, Holly?
Yes, I've done the EE system.
What was your experience?
It is a very powerful form of healing. I kind of get zoned out when I'm in. We're sitting here in the room with it right now, and I can feel it.
It feels like this constant wave hitting you.
Yeah.
But it's like a loving feeling.
Yes. I kind of just get conked out after I have a session. And it's like you're basically being taken out just so we're not consciously thinking about what's happening, so that the body can heal and repair itself on a deep cellular level. And it's really out there. I would say this is one of the most powerful healing modalities that we have right now at our fingertips.
Because it's basically programmed on the 5th dimension. So it is at such a higher level. And when I have patients, I also will give them a mantra. So when they're in the room, they're focusing on knowing their body as the healer. So they have the homeopathy, they have the mantra. We have the lights closed, shut down. We have healing music on. So we're using sound therapy. We're using the mantras, and like that, they're out. And then it's like you're saying, it's not like a sleep. It's like you're taken to
another realm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, the healing realm.
Yes.
So is it like on a quantum level? Is that what you would say when you said deep cellular? I mean, that's the next realm, right?
Yeah, it is. It is a quantum level. And the work that you do is quantum. I mean, it really is. So you combine what you're doing with the homeopathy and then come sit in this EE system, which is really charging you at a high level velocity that is going to rapidly heal you. So, you're looking for your patients to have the most optimal fast results,
Yes.
and this provides it for them instead of just being drawn out and being sick for a very long period of time.
Yes,
So you want everybody to heal and be as healthy as they can be.
absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So you got this system to facilitate, so you don't have to work as hard.
Correct. Correct. And
So how far outside of Manhattan are you?
we're probably 40 minutes outside of Manhattan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because my son lives in Manhattan. And so I'm like, gosh, next time I go visit, I'm going to have to come see you. I want to experience that. I also might want to send him there too, if he's open to it, because he's a little sick right now and can't figure out what's going on. So very, very interesting.
And this, I just wanted to add, this really is, to me, future medicine, because you're not healing me. I'm healing me.
Correct.
I am my own healer.
Yes.
And you're not giving me a drug
Correct.
to heal. We're using homeopathy, and we're using these high vibrational EE system to accelerate the healing. It's really, sound and light is the way of the future
Right.
for healing. And
Yes.
you're already on the cutting edge of that. I have a feeling you're going to be so busy after this interview. We're going to have to duplicate yourself because, all right, you're not leaving me. So,
Never.
Yeah, you're going to have first dibs.
yes, exactly.
But no, I'm not even kidding. Like I've had my show, High Energy Girl, we're in the 250 realm of episodes, and I have never heard anybody do anything like what you're doing. And I interview doctors all the time. So this is quite remarkable.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So-
you are cutting edge. You are the future healer. You are.
Oh.
Yeah,
Thank
I'll-
you.
You're amazing. You are a godsend and you're a gift. And I am just blessed to have met you. And
Well, I'm blessed to have met you. So,
well, thank you.
yes.
So how can people find you, doctor?
So my website is real easy. It's drmattsinger.com. And we're in Wayne, New Jersey. And well, really, we're unlimited because I do a good portion of remote visits on Zoom. So I can see somebody anywhere, wherever they are. We have people international that I work with. So, but for people who live in the East Coast, we're in New Jersey, in Wayne, New Jersey.
So how would that work for somebody that you're doing remote and you make a homeopathy for them? How you ship that to them?
Yeah, we just ship it right out to them.
Okay. And then if they wanted it with the EE system, you could have that sit in here and get supercharged?
Correct. Yeah. So what I do is the day before I put all my vials in the room with the water, so they're hypercharging. So when I use it, everyone is getting the scalar frequencies to it.
Awesome.
That's amazing. I'm so excited. I really want my son to come to you. And I'll tell you why later. So anyway, well, this was so exciting. And I want to thank you, Holly, for bringing Dr. Singer to us, and Doctor for doing that little experience with me. You are, I believe, going to be a pioneer and lead the way in what our world's coming to. I feel that Western medicine is dying. Like, people are seeing the truth about how it's hurting people and not helping people. And I feel like that this is really where we're going. And I'm blown away by it, to be honest, very much blown away. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's such an honor.
It's an honor to have you on. And, we're seeing medicine. This is the new medicine. We are our own healers, and you are tapping into us to be our own healers. You're just the facilitator.
Right. Absolutely.
And everybody can heal themselves of a lifetime of illnesses, no matter what the illnesses are and how long you've had them. you can be healed of any and everything. And, you just finding you to be able to facilitate that within people and doing the Ho'oponopono. So if anybody does, wants to listen to this, you can see the Ho'oponopono, and you can Ho'oponopono yourself at home multiple times over anything and create that healing within yourself.
Yes. I'm constantly doing it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel that with your help, you're teaching people. So you're almost like a bridge. Like right now, they depend on their Western doctor, and we know that they can heal themselves, but you're this bridge that's going to give them the tools and the confidence that they know that this can be a reality. So that is really awesome. I'm super excited. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that was super awesome. I wish I lived closer to him, but he does do the Zoom appointments. That's pretty cool. So for complete show notes, including links, please head on over to highenergygirl.com/show. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it with a friend who you feel could benefit from this amazing knowledge, and make it a great day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.